The dust is barely settled on the 2020 election, but people who are interested in North Carolina's election situation are already looking ahead to 2022. And we've seen some interesting developments in one of the marquee matchups, that is the race for the U.S. Senate seat. Dallas Woodhouse of Carolina Journal has been looking into this and has some interesting information that he recently reported at carolinajournal.com. Dallas, welcome to the program.
Good to be with you, Mitch.
So let's first of all talk about the Republican side. We know that there is at least one candidate who has definitely said he's in, and then another high-profile person who's run a number of statewide races, including one of the most important races, who is likely to get in. Tell us what's happening.
Yes, of course, former Congressman Mark Walker, who represented the 6th Congressional District, but was in essence drawn out of that district when it became a Democrat district before the 2020 election, announced in December. He was running for Senate for 2022. He was really the first announced candidate for Senate. And then, of course, on the Democrat side, State Senator Jeff Jackson from Mecklenburg County announced that he was running. He had looked at running before in 2020 against Tom Tillis. And so I wanted to dig around and use some of my sources to come up with what else I thought the field was going to be. I started talking to a lot of people very close to former Governor Pat McCrory, who had indicated that he would seriously look at this race. I've confirmed that Pat McCrory has taken some very serious steps and is planning to get into the race later this year. He has talked to consultants. He has talked to former staff. There is mutual interest in him running by some of the leaders in Washington. That doesn't necessarily mean they will endorse him. But Pat, of course, this would be his 4th statewide run since 2008. He has, of course, won statewide, one governor's race. He would have lost 2 of them, one of them very narrowly. Pat continues to be very popular in Republican circles. Civitas polled Mr. McCrory versus Dan Forest in 2019. In case Mr. McCrory were to make another run for governor in a primary, at that time, Mr. McCrory was leading Dan Forest significantly. So we do believe that Mr. McCrory is getting into the race.
One thing, though, that you mentioned in your report is that the former governor is in no hurry to make an announcement. Why is that?
Yeah, well, if you know anything about Pat McCrory, he does not like to get into races too early. He loathes sort of these long, drawn-out campaigns. When he first ran for governor versus Bev Perdue, he actually finished running for mayor in October or November of that year, and then announced in December, before the year of the 2008 election, that he was running for governor. And he also has a very popular radio show. It is the #1 rated radio show in the Charlotte area that he would have to give up under Federal Election Commission rules. And he's in no hurry to do that. So while I believe that Mr. McCrory will get in the race, I do not believe his entry is imminent. And Mr. McCrory, with virtually universal name identification in North Carolina, it is not necessary that he need to get into the race today, like somebody like Mark Walker needs to, who is not known outside of the district that he represented.
So I could be accused of burying the lead here, but the real action and the probably the highlight of your story at Carolina Journal is the action on the Democratic side. What's happening there?
Well, the big news is former Chief Justice Sherry Beasley, who just lost a very narrow race to continue being Chief Justice to Paul Newby, is preparing to enter the race for U.S. Senate. She is a popular African American in the Democratic Party. Of course, she has won statewide before. She won as an appeals court judge and won as a associate justice on the Supreme Court before, but this is her first time running for such a political office as U.S. Senate. We have not had a situation like this in North Carolina or virtually anywhere else in the country that I'm able to find. U.S. Senator John Cornyn from Texas did serve on the Texas Supreme Court for a time, but he did run for Texas Attorney General. And if you go back many decades ago, Senator Sam Ervin did serve on North Carolina's Supreme Court, and he was appointed to be U.S. Senator and then ran for the seat. Clearly, the energy in the Democratic Party is behind candidates of color and diversity. You saw that with the announcement of Jeff Jackson. Some of the Democrat consultants and everything went after Jeff Jackson. Thomas Mills, a well-known Democratic consultant, said he doesn't know how to read a room. A well-known consultant, Brad Crone, said he looked like Cal Cunningham #2. Some of this seems, quite frankly, unfair to Mr. Jackson, simply because he's a Caucasian male and also served in the National Guard. Matter of fact, Mr. Jackson made a very awkward announcement the day that he announced he was running for the Senate, and came out without being asked and declared that he had not cheated on his wife. It was an awkward thing. So my sources are telling me that a lot of the Democrats are going to line up behind former Chief Justice Beasley. It's an interesting situation. We're talking about somebody who has run before statewide, but has never really had to express an opinion on particular issues. You know, when you run for judicial office, you really are not expressing an opinion on most issues. It's mostly about your qualifications for judicial office. So I think that there could be others that get in the race, but you would be looking possibly at Pat McCrory and Miss Beasley, two candidates that have won statewide race, two candidates that also have lost two of the closest statewide races in North Carolina history. So some fascinating developments there.
And we know that one person who's going to be continuing to keep up to date on this as the situation moves forward is Dallas Woodhouse. Dallas?
And I just want to say that one of the other developments that we were able to break is that we do not believe that Laura Trump, the president's daughter-in-law at this time, is seriously considering getting in the race. That was something that was talked about a lot. I think the developments both with the end of the campaign and the realization of what a campaign would take and the service of a senator has made the Trump family realize it may not be the time for Laura, especially since she has two kids under 5 years of age. My understanding is it's still being considered, but it is unlikely at this time, but we'll see how that develops.
You can read all these details at carolinajournal.com, and we know that we will see continuing developments on this story featuring Dallas Woodhouse. Dallas, thanks so much.
Thank you, Mitch.